Hi, I'm Laura, and I want to talk to you about the biology of stress. So, I'm an educator. I've been teaching biology and biology related subjects at the post-secondary level, so college level, for the last many years. Um, I've taught biology, I taught microbiology, and I also currently teach a class called the biology of stress, which is what I want to talk to you about today. I have taught science students and also students that are not in science uh, programs. And I am really interested in talking to people whose primary interest is not necessarily science. So, in this series of talks, we want to talk about stress, but from the point of view of the biology behind it. And we want to talk about daily stress that you might encounter in your very mundane, uneventful life, or even about the stress situations that one may go through in an emergency situation, or even people that have gone through terrible crises or natural disasters might go through. We're going to tackle questions like, for example, well, is all stress bad? Is there any possibility that some stress might be good for you? Um, do we humans have we humans always have stress? Um, or is it something recent that we acquired and can't get rid of? Are we the only organisms that suffer stress? And many more questions that you may have. And you might be surprised of hearing me tell you things like the fact that we can react to stressful situation as humans has kept us as a species, Homo sapiens, alive for the last, at the very least, 200,000 years. And no, of course, we're not the only um, living organisms. We're not the only animals that suffer stress. Many other animals, but plants, bacteria, there's evidence that all kinds of living organisms respond to stress, have a certain stress response. Of course, in this series of talks, we're going to concentrate in humans. And so I hear you saying, like, how's that? I can't see a little bird out there worried that they're going to be late for work or they're not going to be able to make their credit card payment this month. And of course, stress doesn't look the same for everybody. It doesn't even look the same for you and me, probably. Probably we're subjected to a lot of similar stressful situations, but some stress situations are unique to you and some might be unique to me. It doesn't look the same in all animals. It doesn't look the same in all complex organisms. It doesn't look the same in all living organisms. However, we can sort of agree on a very broad definition of stress. And stress at big strokes is defined as a situation that is perceived by the individual as more that they can cope with, a challenge that's bigger than the tool set that you feel you have. And of course, it induces a series of physiological and psychological changes that are designed from the point of view of how we got there in our evolutionary history to actually be able to overcome the stressor, the stressful situation. So think about a prey animal being chased by a predator. So think about a little mouse being chased by a cat, or think about a gazelle being chased by a lion, right? The prey animal psychologically is going to be obviously frightened, but also is going to be absolutely focused on survival, on just escaping from the predator or hiding. And uh, automatically, there's going to be changes in the physiology of the animal. heart rate is going to increase, so that heart is going to pump more blood per unit of time. Breathing frequency is going to increase. So the organism that's subjected to stress is going to change their physiology and their psychology to try to actually overcome the situation that's causing them stress. So, in a similar way, it's kept us alive all these years, all these thousands and thousands of years of evolutionary history that we humans have gone through. However, most humans nowadays, I would agree with you, are not being chased by a lion, by a predator. We are now subject to very different types of stress. And something that we're going to talk about in the next video is how this ability to respond to stressful situations that served us so well for so many thousand years, right? Hundreds of thousands of years in modern life, in particularly in the last 100 to 100 years, but you can extend it to the last, say, 2,000 years, has not adapted well to modern life, to the point where now our stress response can even make us more likely to become sick. So, if you like this little uh, teaser, this little taster of what these talks are going to be about, I welcome you to my next video where we're going to be talking about types of stress or ways of classifying or naming stress. There's many, but we're just going to touch upon a few. And we're going to go a little bit more into this idea of how an evolutionary trait that has served us well for millennia or hundreds of thousands of years has become poorly adapted to our modern life, and the things we could entertain to better adapt our stress response to our current situation. So I hope I'll see you soon.